When I was young, my family lived overseas. I lived in Indonesia for a few years, and my mother, she didn't have the money to send me where all the American kids went to school, but she thought it was important for me to keep up with American education, so she decided to teach me extra lessons herself, Monday through Friday. But because she had to go work, the only time she could do it was at 4:30 in the morning. But whenever I complained, my mother would just give me one of those looks and say, "This is not picnic for me either, Buster." So I know that some of you are still adjusting to be back at school, but I'm here today because I have something important to discuss with you. My father left my family when I was 2 years old. I was raised by a single mom who had to work. I struggled with times to pay bills and always giving us things that other kids has. There was times when I missed having a father in my life. There was times when I was lonely and felt like I didn't fit in. So I wasn't always focused as I should have been on school. I did something that I'm not proud of. I got in more trouble than I should have. And my life could have easily take a turn for the worst. But I was lucky. I got a lot of second chances and I had opportunity to go to college and law school and follow my dreams. My wife, our first lady, Michelle Obama, she's similar story. Neither her parents had gone to college and they didn't have a lot of money. But they worked hard and she worked hard so that she could go to the best schools in this country. Some of you might not have those advantages. Maybe you don't have adults in your life will give you the support you need. Maybe someone in your family has lost their job and not enough money to go around. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where you don't feel safe or have friends who is pressuring you to do things outright. Maybe you could be a rate writer, maybe even good enough to write a book or articles in newspaper, but you might not know it until you write an English paper. That English class paper assigns to you. Maybe you could be an innovator or an investor, maybe even good enough to come up with the next iPhone or new medicine or vaccine, but you might not know it until you do the project for the science class. Maybe you could be a mayor or a senator or a Supreme Court justice, but you might not know that until you join the student government or debate team. And no matter what you want to do with your life, I guarantee that you need education to do it. You want to be a doctor or a teacher or a police officer? You want to be a nurse or an architect, a lawyer or a member of a military? You're going to need a good education for every single. You cannot drop out of school and just drop into a good job. You've got to train for it and work for it and learn for it. And this isn't just important for your life, your future. What you make of your education will decide not only last that the future of this country. The future of American depends on you. What you're learning at school today will determine whether we as a nation can meet our greatest challenges in the future. You'll need knowledge and problem-solving skills. You'll learn science and math to cure diseases like cancer and AIDS and develop new energy technologies to protect our environment. You'll need the insights and critical thinking skills you gain in history and social studies to fight poverty and homelessness, crime and discrimination, and make our nation more fair and more free. You'll need the creativity and ingenuity development on your classes to build new companies, create new jobs, and boost our economy. We need every single one of you to develop your talents and your skills and your intellect so you can help us all solve our most difficult problems. If you don't do that, if you quit on school, you're not just quitting yourself, you're quitting on your country. I know it's not always easy to do well at school. I know a lot of you have challenges in your lives right now. It can make it hard for focusing on your schoolwork. I get it, I know that it's like. But at the end of the day, the circumstances of your life, what you look like, where you come from, how much money you have, what you got going in home, none of that is excuse for neglecting your homework and having bad attitude at school. That's no excuse for talking back to your teacher or cutting class or dropping out of school. There's no excuse. for not trying. Where you are right now doesn't have to determine where you end up. No one's reading your destiny for you. Because here in America, you write your own destiny. You make your own future. That's what young people like you are doing every day all across America. That's why today I'm calling each other to set your own goals for your education and do everything you can to meet them. Your goal can be something as simple as doing all your homework, paying attention in class, or spending some time each day reading a book. Maybe you decided to get involved in an extracurricular activity or volunteer in your community. Maybe you decide to stand up for kids who are being teased or bullied because of who they are or how they look. Because you believe, like I do, that all young people deserve a safe environment to study and learn. Maybe you decide to take better care of yourself and you can be more ready to learn. But whatever you resolve to do, I want you to commit to it. I want you to really work at it. I know that sometimes you get that sense from TV that you can be rich and successful without any hard work. Then your ticket to success is wrapping up basketball or like being a reality TV star. Chances are you're not going to be of those. The truth is, being successful is hard. You won't love every subject that you study. You won't click with every teacher that you have. Not every homework assignment will seem completely relevant to your life right at this minute. And you won't necessarily succeed in everything the first time you try. That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who had the most failures. J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. Her first Harry Potter book was rejected 12 times before it was finally published. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He lost hundreds of games and missed thousands of shots during his career, but he once said, "I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed." These people succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you. You have to let your failures teach you. You have to let them show you what to do differently next time. So if you get into trouble, doesn't mean you're a troublemaker. It means you need to try harder to act right. If you get bad grades, it doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you need to spend more time studying. No one's born being good at all things. You become a good at things through hard work. You're not a varsity athlete the first time you play the new sport. You don't hit every note the first time you sing a song. You got to practice. The same principle applies to your schoolwork. You might have to do a math problem a few times before you get it right. You might have to read something a few times before you understand it. You definitely have to do a few drafts on the paper before it's good enough to hand in. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I do that every day. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, a sign of strength. Because it shows that you encourage admit something if you don't know something and then allows you to learn something new. So find a adult that you trust, a parent or teacher or coach or counselor, and ask them to help you stay on track to meet your goals. Even when you're struggling, even when you're discouraged, you feel like other people are giving up on you, don't ever give up on yourself. Because when you give up on yourself, you give up on your country. The story of America isn't about people who quit some things got told. It's about people who keep going, trying harder, who love the country too much to do anything less than their best. It's a story of students who said, "Where you sit 250 years ago and went on a wage revolution and they founded this nation." Young people. Students who sat where you sit 75 years ago, who overcame the Depression and won a world war, who fought the civil rights and put a man on the moon. Students who sat there you sit 20 years ago, who founded Google and Twitter and Facebook and changed the way we communicate with each other. So today I want to ask all of you, What's your contribution to going B? What problems you gonna solve? What discoveries will you make? What will a president who comes here in 20 or 50 or 100 years say what all of you did for this country? Now your families, your teachers, and I doing everything we can to make sure you have the education you need to answer the questions. And working hard to face up the classrooms and get books and equipment and computers you need to learn. But you've got to do your part too. Expect all of you to get serious this year. I expect you to put your best effort into everything you do. I expect great things from each of you. So don't let us down. Don't let your family down or your country down. Most of all, don't let yourself down. Make us all round.